Hey guys, Youngblood with you, and what I wanted to do today was actually something a little bit different on my channel, and that's going to be a product review and an unboxing of the Corsair Sabre RGB, which I just got from Corsair. Now, it's a gaming mouse, it's an optical gaming mouse, but what it's really known for, or at least kind of the selling point over other mice, is it's part of the RGB line. Now what the RGB line is it's the color customization, red, green, blue. Basically, you can, on a couple different points on this mouse, which I'm going to show you in a minute, you can make like one of 16 million color combinations, which is great, you know, if you want to make it an extension of the game that you're playing, or if you want to end up making it, you know, match your case colors, whatever it may be, you get to kind of choose those colors, and that's one of the things that's pretty nice. So I'm going to go ahead and break into this box. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about the box, but you can see it does have this little area where you can kind of go in and take a look at the mouse. It's also got some of the stats and information around the back side of it. But ultimately, if you're like me, you care a whole heck of a lot more about the product itself versus the box. So we're not going to spend a lot of time doing anything too fancy here. It's in a nice container, which is all that really matters. Cable is held up a little bit separately, so let's feed it through and pull this bad boy out. Instructions are in the box, but it's a mouse, don't need those too much. And here we have it. Now, the first things that I notice about it is it's incredibly lightweight. And this is actually the first time I'm holding this mouse, and especially when I'm used to playing on my G500, which has been my go-to mouse for a long time, this feels incredibly lightweight. The other just immediate tactile thing that I notice is the feel of the mouse is almost rubberized in a way, but it's soft. But basically, it's pleasant to the touch, and I can tell immediately that it's going to give you a fair amount of grip to it. Structurally, other things, it's got a braided cable on it, which hopefully you can end up seeing. And this is something that's very, very minor, and most people probably wouldn't even think about it, but for me, this is a huge deal. It's a very unique looking USB plug-in. And for me, that's a big deal. And let me tell you why. Especially as a content provider, I've got keyboard, mouse, headset, webcam, track IR, desktop microphone. Basically, I have a whole bunch of USBs going into the back of my case. So when it comes time to actually move something or unplug something for some reason, having a very unique USB port makes my life a lot easier when it comes to knowing which one I've got to yank out of there. So that's really minor, but a nice touch, and it kind of follows that Corsair gaming theme. So with this mouse, you actually end up having 8 customizable buttons. You've got 2 on the side, you've got 2 on the front left, you've got the 2 main buttons, you've got a clickable wheel, which also scrolls, of course, and you've got this middle button in the kind of center of the mouse. And all of those are going to be able to be programmed however you see fit. And especially in games like Star Citizen, having the ability to actually, you know, change these up to different like FPS things is going to be big. Or for those of you that are playing mouse and keyboard, being able to bind some of these to like things like pitch up, pitch down, maybe strafe. Those are nice advantages that you can have, and having a lot of buttons is a nice touch. Other than that, the backside of the mouse is pretty much as you might expect. It has, you know, a couple accents on it. It's got, you'll notice that the wheel is actually cut all the way through. And that's actually pretty cool because that's one of the areas where you end up getting lighting effects. This Corsair logo on the back ends up being able to light up. You've got this little bar on the side that lights up, and the wheel area lights up. And I think having this cutout here is going to be one of those things that actually is going to kind of broadcast it onto your mouse pad, giving you a little bit more of that array of color. So what we're going to do next is I'm actually going to get the program set up for this. I'm going to actually get it customized. And we're going to go ahead and show off some of the different things that you can do as far as just the look and the color schemes that you can put into place. Alright guys, so I went ahead and got this thing installed. The drivers downloaded easily. The Corsair gaming software was an easy setup. And as soon as it gets plugged in, it kicks through this nice rainbow pattern on the lights that are on the mouse. Now with this mouse, I said earlier that this was a light right here, and it is a light, but it's not necessarily one of the lighting zones. You've got this one back here, which I was right about. You've also got the mouse wheel, which I was correct about. But in addition, you also have this headlight underneath your left finger, you know, that kind of ends up projecting onto the mouse, which is really nice. And one thing to consider is my office right now is pretty bright. Now I've shut the blinds and I've turned off the light, but it is still bright. The sun shines directly at my window. So when I'm playing in the pitch black at night, this is going to look very different. It's going to be very bright, and it's something I'm excited to actually see in that total darkness. Now let's get this thing focused up again. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to try and show you on this mouse and on the screen at the same time. In the gaming software you get a lighting tab. where you have access to your 3 different zones. And from these, you can actually start making changes. It's already set on the rainbow, which is why it's all kind of circulating through the different options. Now, you can come over and just make it a solid color. So if you want it to be red, it's just red. Or if you end up wanting to do like a color shift, which will bounce between 2 colors, it'll do that. And that's a smooth transition where it never actually turns off. The other option is to do a color pulse where it actually shuts down and then comes back up. There you go. And that right now is what's set for all of these. Now, let's say you want something different for just one of them. You just don't click apply to all zones. You come over and look at zone 2. And so we're talking about the wheel here. And let's say we actually want this to stay, well, it's set as the rainbow right now, so that's a good example. But let's say we like this color shift. Come on now. We can click apply to all zones. And there she goes. She's doing everything. Now, when you're actually setting these colors, you get a lot of basic preset colors, and you can really choose between any of them. But you also get the ability to use kind of this color palette here to really customize it to whatever you like. You can also add them to your custom settings for later on down the line. So that's that. I just want to kind of show you that you can make these anything. And let's just make this a solid color of green. And there you have kind of a mishmash mouse. You've got the alternating colors here, you've got the rainbow here, and you end up having the headlights there all on different colors. Now, I'm one guy that kind of likes unity, so I'm going to go ahead and go back over to zone 1 and apply that to everything. This is almost like my PlanetSide 2 mouse now, the new conglomerate mouse, bouncing between blue and gold. But this button here, these buttons that I thought this was actually going to be a customizable light, it sort of is. What that actually is it's reflective of your DPI settings. So if you go down to red and see the cursor on my screen, it's moving very sluggishly. Click it up once and all of a sudden you're on white, which appears to be kind of the standard option that you normally have or normally use. At least for me, it's very similar to my normal. Go up to green, it's pretty quick. It's faster than I'm used to using. Go up to orange and all of a sudden it's blazing fast. And you can get up to blue and it's just wacky fast. Now for me, that's great. I like having those different options, especially in a game like Star Citizen where you have to use, you may want a different setting for when you're on foot, or you may want a different setting for when you're in a turret, or you may want a different setting when you're flying. Having those different options available to you is going to be very important. Having 5 is much more than I'm used to, considering my G500 only stores 3. But under the Performance and DPI tab, come on, let's get back in focus. Well, under the Performance and DPI tab, while my camera tries to figure it out, you actually have the different options here, and it's going to be so you can set which color you want for this little button or the light over here. So instead of slow, if you like, red kind of makes sense. It's red is stop, but maybe you want yellow to be kind of your average speed one, so you can set that. And then for your middle one, you want it to be, I don't know, purple. See, it ends up customizing to whatever you actually want it to be. So you get that ability to make those changes, and that's something that's going to be really nice for you because it just continues that level of customization, which is what this thing is really all about. So from here, I'm going to go ahead and boot up a couple first-person shooters, maybe a little bit of Rocket League, capture some footage, get some opinions on it, and we'll talk a little bit more about the specs of this mouse as we go. So after getting to play with the mouse in several different games, I can easily say that I'm walking away with a pretty damn positive impression on this mouse. I spent time in PlanetSide 2, in Dirty Bomb, in Rocket League, and Star Citizen, and I thought it performed really well in all of those venues. And like you would expect, the mouse moves very well across the pad surface, and it's extremely lightweight, which makes for some really nice fast twitch type reactions, especially good for things like quickscoping in games that I like to play that way. Dirty Bomb and PlanetSide 2 are a couple of those. Now, I do feel that I need to practice with it more to get really comfortable with the weight difference after coming off of a heavy G500, and if you're not careful or you're used to lightweight body, you could end up kind of overshooting your target if you're trying to land shots. Like anything though, if you play with something long enough, the comfort level is going to come there. Now, I think the weight is a very good thing for those who like to play on lower sensitivities, as you can tend to move your mouse across larger distances faster and end up recentering easily based on the weight. Now, I probably would have liked to see a customizable weight tray, but with the lower profile on this mouse and the buttons and it being sold as a lightweight mouse, I'm just not sure that would have been feasible to include. Now, all in all, the mouse is quite responsive, both in movement and in the clicks, and with this particular optical sensor, I haven't really noticed any of the weird mouse acceleration that some of these other optical sensors have. While this particular model is the optical version, they do sell a laser one, so if you have a preference between them, it's available. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe the laser version actually ends up having a slightly higher max DPI setting if you like to play in ludicrous mode. The Q programming software does allow you to easily adjust a bunch of the settings. You can customize colors, you can customize the keys, as well as things like lift height. Now for me, the default height of high was good, but having the option to kind of change that, it lends itself to success for all players as they can really customize this mouse to be exactly what they want it to be. Now, while I found the buttons to be very responsive, I do find them to be actually louder than I expected. And it isn't crazy loud, it's not anything that's going to distract you from what you're doing, but when I compare it to other mice that I've used, it is noticeably clickier, especially the side thumb buttons. I have found that the color indicator for the DPI settings is a nice touch, and while it's not as intuitive as something like a number or like a number of bars, it is a lot more attractive, and really, it's only 5 options to remember that you can set, so remembering what color equals what setting is pretty easy. I've personally got my 5 settings actually already worked out, and I've used them in different applications and different settings. For example, I've got a really high and a really low setting that I use for image editing, and other high settings that I use for turret gunning and Star Citizen. And the other 2 end up being kind of my FPS modes, based on what type of weapon in game I'm actually in. Now that versatility is really nice, and having those 5 options really gives you a lot of flexibility, both within one game and in different roles within that game, and across different applications. My only real gripe about the design is kind of on the right side of that mouse where I mentioned when I was actually showing you footage earlier, where the ring and pinky fingers land. I've seen other reviews and pictures of hands that lay flat on the mouse, almost in that palm grip, but frankly, I think you would really need pretty small hands to be able to comfortably play in that configuration. Now I've got very average hands, and playing in a claw or a hybrid mode seems to work really well for me. And it's not really a problem, but it is noticeably different than other mice that I have used. However, the texture on the mouse does mean that regardless of your grip, you're really able to keep a good control on it, even with a sweaty hand and at higher DPI settings. It almost clings to you, allowing you to flick the mouse for a twitch reaction without losing control. And finally, structurally wise, the middle mouse button, or wheel, has a really nice level of tension, which kind of prevents you from accidentally moving it, something that I struggled with on the G500. But it does have this really nice, almost like tire-like rubber pattern on it that allows you some really good control. Opposed to kind of the buttons being clicky, the scroll wheel is absolutely quiet. So to this date, the mice that I've used the most are the Razer Death Adder, the Logitech G400 and G500, and I can say that this mouse, the Sabre RGB, has a lot going for it. The G500 and I have been together for a really long time, and I think for me, the G500 easily trumped the G400 and the Death Adder. However, while playing with the Sabre, I think it's extremely different, but it performs really well and is a mouse that I could see easily replacing my G500. Performance-wise, it's not leaps and bounds better than my trusty Logitech. However, even a slight improvement along with the color customization is a hell of an option to consider. And for someone like myself who values the immersion to be able to match my peripherals to what I'm seeing on screen, that's a huge advantage and something I personally found very valuable. Now, I'm not here to sell this mouse to you, so I'm just trying to give you an honest rating on it, or a good impression on it. So I'm not going to give you a rating on it. But I can honestly say that after playing with this thing for several days and doing my research, I absolutely would recommend it to anyone, with maybe the exception of those who absolutely require a heavy mouse, or for those of you that have large hands and absolutely hate playing in the claw formation. Overall, I was pleasantly surprised when I got this mouse, and I'm looking forward to a whole lot more time spending, gaming with it. I'm also looking forward to playing around with the color customizations, just because it's a really cool feature and something I'm kind of having fun with that I haven't had in previous peripherals. Now, being a huge fan of Corsair hardware, it's exciting for me to actually get the chance to start to play with, some of the gaming peripherals. And along those same lines, I'm expecting to receive an RGB model of the Strafe keyboard soon, which I'm going to review. So I'll be doing a similar video with even more color customization focused on that, especially considering the keyboard has a lot more configurable options. In addition, I plan to show you some of the really neat things that you can do to bring the wonderful world of Star Citizen out of your screen and kind of bring it into your keyboard and mouse. So there's several more videos, reviews, and updates coming, so I want you to make sure that you're staying tuned for more of that. If you have questions or want more information about this mouse, let me know. Otherwise, I appreciate you all watching. Have yourselves a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you all later. Take care.